Hey Evil Dead fans, I'm going to make a video right now on the outside specs of the Comic-Con safe working chainsaw that I built for Brick Slab House. Now this is going to be sent out to New Jersey for the New Jersey Horror Cons. It's I think starts September 21st, 22nd. So if you see Brick walking around with his chainsaw, say hi and check it out. Alright, and I did make a video of me I did make a video on the inside of it when it was done. I just kept getting interrupted during the video, so I haven't posted it yet, but I will post that soon. So on the outside, we have that chainsaw bar and chain that was off the toy. That's the only thing on the toy that you can physically see looking at it like this. Now this is the Evil Dead 2 style. It's not 100% screen accurate. This is supposed to resemble the cabin chainsaw since it does have the lifted top instead of the flat top. As you can see here, the toggle switch is actually where the one for Army of Darkness and Ash vs. Evil Dead is. In reality, these bolts should be up about right here, and this toggle switch should be really where the bolt is. I really just didn't want to put the toggle switch too far back. It didn't look right, so I just put it up here. And actually, this bolt right here on the other side, that's a fake bolt. It's actually just the head's cut off and connected onto it. This one actually is holding in the top hand, or the inside handle from the top, and there's one from the bottom as well. Now, I got a nice texturing on the handle here, and also it's flat. Some people may say the one from Evil Dead 2 was rounded. It's not, it's flat cut. You can watch it over and over and over. It's flat cut, it's not rounded, like the Ash vs. Evil Dead one is. That just came from the guy who made them for the show. He rounds his off. That's just his thing. As you can see, it's really dirty, it's really grimy looking. That's what Brick wanted. There's no tape here, and so I didn't put a tape there. I didn't insert caps on the bottom. It's just one step that didn't need to be taken with this, so I didn't do it. And the handle connections is the same as the Ash vs. Evil Dead, Ash vs. Evil Dead style. I'm not really sure. There's really not a close-up views of the one from the cabin, so I really didn't have much to work with, so I just went with what works. The cuff connection's correct up here. It connects up top, not on side. Has this piece right here versus the workshed scene where it's connected over here, this strap. And this bolt's actually not connected to anything. It's actually just glued in place. So if you ever have to take it apart, you take it off from here. This always will just be right there. And it's really grimy, really dirty. You kind of might go over and put some silver details in it before I let it go or send it off. Now this piece, it's a custom piece. What it is, it's a wood block. It's a thinner wood block versus the ones for the Ash vs. Evil Dead or the Army of Darkness style. This one is, I think, 3/4 of an inch thick versus a full 1 inch. And the reason for that is the speaker is actually glued on the other side, so you can see it. And I'll show more on that other video. See, you can see it right there. Now what I did is I cut out that block of wood and drilled a bunch of holes in it to get the sound to pass through to here, and you lose no sound at all. I'm surprised there's no muffling whatsoever. Now it is a Super 2, so this side is a little shorter, and these bolts aren't where they're, movie accurate, where they're supposed to be. They're actually supposed to be a little bigger and more centered and a little closer together. But for the sake of space, I had to push these bolts out so I can get enough room to push the block of wood out, for room for the speaker so you don't hit your hand on the speaker. But it works good. Okay, underneath, you can see, I didn't put replacement bolts here. That's a lot of bolts to have there, so I didn't even do it. Now this screw is holding on the inside handle right there, and these are holding on the inner bracket that holds this in. Now you can see right there, there's one of the wire nuts that are holding the wires together, and there is a gap right there. I didn't put a filler piece in there. This is more about a Comic Con safe working chainsaw hand versus, you know, filling in gaps. And an Evil Dead 2 style one does have gaps. Like right here, there's a gap. And right there, there's a gap. That's why I put this in there, this version, so it covers that gap a little more. Because it's more of a free-floating cuff versus an inserted cuff. There's no gaps down here. But yeah, you can see from here that gap. But you can, it's something that nobody's gonna pay attention to. And what else was I gonna say about this thing? There was something else. Oh, and up here, these two bolts hold in the power pack up against here, up against the front. Now, to change the batteries in this thing, I made a video on that. That's on the, when I have it all open, the one I made, I said I made already. You know, you have to take off this side piece, this bolt down here, and this bolt, and then that bolt, and this whole piece will pop off. Once you do that, you have to take these two bolts out, then you pull out the power pack, change the batteries, put it back, put those two bolts back in, put in that bolt, that bolt, that bolt, that bolt, and it's back together. I could do it within about 3 minutes, just depending on how fast. If I'm trying to do it fast, about 3 minutes. If I'm taking my time, about 10. You just have to watch with the wiring. Don't pull on it because the wires are all soldered together or wire nutted together, and you can break them. They're really, really thin wires that run this thing. But in the chainsaw bar measurement, I think it measured out to about 16 or 17 inches long from the opening to end. So it's a little bit of a shorter difference than the 20-inch, but that's, you know, that's all I got to work with. So, but it looks good, and it's Comic Con safe. It's real lightweight because the chainsaw bar is plastic. But yeah, it looks good, and in my opinion, like on Etsy, there's somebody or these people, they're selling the toy ones that I took and destroyed and made it better. They're selling this for almost 300 bucks, so that would make this one worth about 500 to 600 bucks, since it is the real deal versus a toy that somebody put a handle on, a crappy cuff, and a paint job. Now this is, that damn flight, there's another one. Anyways, yeah, this one would be worth a lot more, but I did it for free for my friend Brick, and it was a nice experience to do. Gothman gave me the idea to do it, and it turned out very nice. And, oh, and another thing, this is what I was gonna talk about. Up here, I actually had to put the bolts in upside down because I didn't want that rubbing the top of his hand, these points, because they could easily do that. When you have an inserted cuff, you really don't have that problem. But with this, and there's not a lot of room. I wouldn't say there's not a lot of room, but there's room. Like you can't really see in there. Like I said, I got a video with it wide open. But yeah, I just didn't want that to happen. I didn't want him to cut his hand at all. I mean, you can put your hand here and you don't cut it at all. You don't snag your hand, nothing. It's got plenty of room for your hand. And you can't see it, but that switch, the trigger is way in the front hook to the power pack. So when you're holding it, all you have to do is this, and you hit that trigger. It's just a button. I actually replaced the original button on the video I made that I will show you guys here in a bit. I actually used the original button, but I didn't like how short it was, so I went to the hardware store, bought a longer button, so it's easier to push versus trying to stretch your finger over. So now it's just, that's it. Like if I put my hand in here, get my hand in this sucker. See, just. You see right there, there's a gap, but it, like I said, it's an Evil Dead 2 style free floating cuff. And then there's the wires way up there. Looks like one of them might have got a little loose, and I need to put her back. Yeah, you can kind of see up there, but Yeah, I'll just have to put it back in place. It's just taking a couple bolts off and doing that, but no big deal. But yeah, this gap would be actually filled if the block was a little wider, but like I said, I needed more room for the speaker. Anyways, there it is. Tell me what you guys think in the comments. If it looks good or if it looks bad. You guys have a great day. Bye.